Alright, what is going on guys, Liam here, and in today's video I have a commentary for y'all, and I'm going to be offering what I think are the best schools in Season 2 PvP. Now keep in mind, I do have all 7 schools maxed. Well, I did in Season 1, then I deleted the death because it was broken, but he's on his way back to max. So, I have a lot of experience with each school. I know what each school does to win, and I do my best to not be biased in these videos as well. I try to look at things objectively. I literally write stuff down on my notepad. I might throw that in sometime in a future video, but yeah, if you guys are new, before we get into it, feel free to sub to the channel. I do post every single day, and I've been doing so for about a year straight now, so I'd really appreciate it. And if you want to see some more commentary videos like this one, just be sure to leave a like rating, and if you guys, want to offer your own tier list in the comment section below, feel free to do so. One thing I do ask though is just be respectful of your opinions in the comments below. If you are disrespectful, again, YouTube does kind of like automatically take your comments out most of the time, so I don't want you to waste your time. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Alright, so coming in at the #1 spot, I think I'm going to put Balance. Now, Balance was pretty much left untouched with this update. Pretty broken in Season 1. One thing I will say, Judgment is now gone though, which is a very big deal. This card is broken for a lot of reasons, right? I think it did like, what, 1400, 1200, I don't know. Max pips, it was crazy. High pips, it was crazy. And everybody had like 3 of these in their deck as a finisher. But now, Balance is actually struggling a lot more to do damage without this card, so you actually have to use a little bit more skill to win on a Balance nowadays. And one thing I do want to say is going into 5th Age, I actually wanted to main Balance and Storm. However, once I found out that everybody was going back to, Brace, Burn Spam, like in 4th Age, I decided to stop playing on it, as you can see right here. Compare this to somebody like my Storm or any other character, I have like hundreds of games played. I just really don't enjoy playing schools that, are very, very, very formulaic, and unfortunately Balance is one of those in the current meta right now. I would really like to see Balance become, non-formulaic, and, I'd like to see more cards like Chimera, and, I don't know, more Jin strategies. I've seen a couple of those come out. Maybe see Nested Fury a bit more as well, but, yeah, objectively, Balance only got 1 change, and that was Judgment, but, they can still Brace, you can't Aura against them, right? They still have 2 of, I don't know how to say the best shads, but 2 really, really good shads, right? Gaze of Fate and a solid damage card, and yeah, again, and the stats are some of the best stats of the game, so I'm gonna leave it here at the #1 spot, guys. Coming in at the #2 spot, I think I'm going to drop Ice. Now, I cannot play this school without feeling dirty. No offense to you Ice mains. I do like to play Ice when it's not broken. I enjoyed it quite a while ago, doing new strats on it. But, with the Blue Phoenix and Lord of Winter being crazy, I stopped posting Ice content. I used to post it, once or twice a week. A couple months ago. You could probably go back and see that. I actually was enjoying Ice quite a bit, but again, if it's a meta school and you get stats like these, it's I don't find it very fun to play, and I don't want to encourage people to just play the meta and click the same 2 or 3 cards the whole game to victory, right? I don't want to encourage that as a content creator, and I don't really find it fun in my opinion. But yeah, I think I'm gonna drop Ice here because I've seen, buffed A-bombs do almost 3,000, unbuffed A-bombs doing 2k. Keep in mind, this is a tank school, right? This is a tank school, a 5-pip shad, which is like, what, 8 pips? Or I'm not sure if it's, a shad is worth 3 or 4 pips. I forget how it works, but it's like an 8 or 9 pip hit, so I don't know. You look at this, then you look at like a card like, I don't know, King Art, Ice King Art or something, bro, and it's like... What were they thinking, bro? What were they thinking? And I get the argument, like it's a shad, you can't, like, just spam it all the time, but, I think for having a whole -50 and doing 2k damage, without a buff or with a buff, this school is pretty broken. Again, you have crazy stats, you can get, like, storm damage, you can be immune to, like, almost every school. perfect accuracy, perfect pips. Your pierce doesn't really matter on the school when you have all that damage as well. And you have 700 blocks, so it's pretty crazy. And I don't know, not to mention, Snowman counters 6 of the other schools. Or sorry, 6 of the schools, except for Balance. So, yeah, I think I'm going to leave Ice here, guys. It did get a pretty big nerf with Lord of Winter and Blue Phoenix. But keep in mind, those cards should never have existed in the first place. So, yeah, let's get into the next spot here. Coming in at the number 3 spot, you might be surprised, but I'm gonna say the Life Wizard. Now, I know some people think the school sucks. You know, they think healing sucks, and I completely understand, guys. I just did a healing video, I think, like last week at the time of me recording this audio, and I actually had a bit of fun doing it, not gonna lie. But, I don't know, man. Good God. Life, has, has some of the best stats in the game for a long time now. And especially in a meta like this where, offensive schools are pretty bad in terms of stats, and the defensive ones aren't. Life has really, really solid stats. Not to mention, right, you have a lot of good cards on this school. You have Caddy, which is like 1600 value on a Shad with the absorb and the damage, right? Again, a 5 pip hit. It's not even like 6 pips like dogs. And speaking of dogs, you could do this with like a troll minion or, a sprite minion and just not get targeted, right? I've done like 3k damage dogs and my opponent hasn't been able to trade because, this card is pretty solid. Now, I'm not running down, the strategy at all in life. My point is just to point out how good their shads are and stuff. Even Wings of Fate, like, if you have a Sanct and a Heal Blade or, I don't know, a Devotion, like, that's a lot of health you're getting back. And you're still doing, like, I don't know, probably like 1400 damage at the same time. You might heal for 1500 and do 1400, right? That's still, not bad, right? Not to mention, you have some pretty solid cards like the Jinny here as well. Hunting Worm is an incredible card. I think I have a video coming out on that in the next couple of days. I hit a... I don't even want to spoil it. It was absolutely nuts. But, yeah, you got a lot of options. Again, like, Regenerate, 5 pip heal, that does, like, 1300. Force Lord, pretty good. You can do, like, 14 Lumies until your opponent is dead, right? So, there's a lot you can do on this school, actually. If you do want to heal, I would recommend, packing Guiding Light TCs. Those have been pretty helpful for me. And be sure you are carrying Sanctuaries on your life because you can still actually heal pretty well for the most part. You just have to make a good deck and, take your trades carefully, play smart, and, you should actually do okay. Also, I'd recommend packing Sprite Swarm. Again, pretty good card. That's like, what, 575 for 3 pips. Then you get out a minion that you can combo with Grenadier. So, pretty good card, especially... with Death not being able to Minotaur now, there's a lot of overtimes in play, and this could be a really good counter for you and help you build some tempo on a Life Wizard. I think one of the main issues with Life right now is in 4th Age, this might be a bit of a hot topic, but a lot of players in that age were jading, and, a lot of people don't like to admit it, but, if you're healing for 20,000 in a game, and you're only doing 4,000, what are you doing at that point, right? And what 5th Age has done is they said, okay, you can't rely on this crutch of having super, super good heals for free. You have to learn how to buff up your heals to make them good, and you actually have to learn how to trade and, think outside the box. And I do have to applaud Kingsell on that one. That being said, guys, I do think healing is due of a very minor buff right now. My buff satyrs were doing about 2k, which is where I argued they should be in 4th Age PvP when I made my videos on that stuff. So I know it's a bit of a touchy topic, but I figured I'd offer my 2 cents on it. And yeah, I think it's a very, very worthy contender of number 3, and I'm excited to see the future for Life. Alright, so coming in at the number 4 spot, I think I had this on my last tier list as well. But, I do try not to be biased in these videos, even though my strong feelings towards Storm, and objectively, it is, you know, the worst school in terms of the gear audit. Like, that is a fact. You can literally cannot argue that at all. I will, you know, give, you know, credit where it's due, right? Full Merciless build on a Storm, which is what you should be running on a Glass School. You know, it does suck, which is pretty stupid because you want to play the Glass School, but you can't really do that because the stats suck. The stats suck, right? But a lot of people just seem to think like, you know, oh no, that's just you running bad gear when it's the gear audit, right? But a lot of people think you can just run Motorist Robe and have success, and I was one of the first people to literally make this video. That's why I find it so funny. I was like the first guy to make this, you know, make this build, make the pet, make the video, everything, and I have people just telling me to switch back to it. I did it for a long time. I was like top on the boards for a bit. I don't care anymore, to be honest, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna get back on the topic here. My issue with Storm right now, right, is you can't play the Glass School the way the Glass School was meant to be played. And if you run Motorist to get good stats here, let me just, you know, fix my jewels up here real quick. If you run these kind of stats, you're gonna see real quick that they don't, you know, they don't seem that good. They're subpar at best. I do have 100 pips, by the way. I'm just missing my stuff at the moment. And you look at a school like Death, right? More health, more damage, same resist, perfect pips, perfect accuracy, the exact same Pierce, better crit block stats, right? Then, you know, not to mention the cards and stuff like that. You know, people want to argue Storm is so good with this build, but then you have other schools that can just run Glass better than the Glass School can. So that's why I'm putting it in the middle of the pack. Personally, I would put this at number 6 or 7 towards the end of the list, but I do know that this build is, you know, semi-viable, but it's not a good... It's not... Let me think over this. It's not how Storm should be. You should not look at Storm and be like, okay, this is what I have to do to win. I'm playing a Storm. I have to play super defensive and have bad stats. That should not be the mentality, right? You should be able to play your Glass Cannon school or your defensive school. You know, if I'm running Glass Cannon, playing Storm, I should be able to play Glass Cannon and, you know, do well, right? If I'm playing a defensive school, I should have defensive stats and, I don't know, not offensive stats. But that's kind of the way it is right now, and that's just a bit of a short rant, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. You have half of the Storms running Mercy, and, you know, the stats just objectively suck. And you have half people running Motorists, and their stats do suck, but they're good enough to the point where people, you know, don't realize it like I do. But yeah, let's get on to the next point. Coming in at the number 5 spot, I think I'm going to put Fire. Fire, Myth, and Death, honestly, are all kind of, I mean, and Storm, I guess, for that matter. They're kind of all in the same boat right now. They're like, what the hell? Death was OP in Season 1, but Minnow being gone is a big deal, so... Yeah, anyways, random tangent right there. Back on topic. Fire with the Meltdown buff is pretty solid for Reg Fire players, right? You can keep shields off your opponent while your Scion is set up, which is a very, very big deal. However, this does kind of kill Trap Stack Scion and stuff like that. But you can still use, like, Oni's Forge and, you know, go for that with Trap Stack Fire. But they did kind of nerf Oni's Forge in this update, so, you know, kind of sucks on both ways, but it's kind of whatever. Right? But I think the reason I'm going to put Fire above the other schools is Fire just can pretty much stack fuels, and there's not really a lot of good counterplay to that at the moment. Sure, you have scales. Sure, you know, if you're a school like, I don't know, is it just life? Is it really just life? I guess Myth could D-shift, but at that point, you're just going to lose too many damn pips, you know? Unless you're a life, you know, it's kind of hard to deal with Trap Stack Fire. You know, I've been in a lot of Trap Stack Fires, don't get me wrong. But when I Trap Stack, I notice I win more of my games than I don't. Simply because I can run a way smaller deck, I can pull what I need, right? They're not going to get their scales, and as soon as they don't get your scales, you can just punish them, gain pips, combo, and, you know, it's pretty hard to lose. I might make a video explaining why Trap Stack Fire is really good in the future, but Basically, just the fact, you know, you have a reliable strat like fuel stack that, you know, isn't really addressed. I think I have to leave it in here. And another thing I discovered on stream is if you actually, you know, throw on a fuel or two and then, you know, get furnace, bubble, you could literally hit through a shield with a 4 pips more and then threaten kill shot with a gen. And if you time this right when you get a second shad, you could just literally hop into strike and go for like a, you know, a gen or a brim into a gen, right? So I don't know. I really would recommend, you know, getting a couple of fuels on, going for a more gen strat, running reversal as well to set up the gen. And I don't know. I think fire, you know, could it be better? Absolutely. I do think so. I would like to see maybe an indemnity protection on, you know, some of the overtimes, right? So triage and, you know, shift isn't that good, but then you could see, you know, more overtime or shambos counter that. I think that would be pretty cool to see because, you know, the overtime school just can't really overtime it very well with cards like Mander, Ashen Bones, etc. because all the shift cards in the game at the moment. But let me know what you guys think about fire in the comments below. If I had to say normal fire without trap stack, I would easily put this at number 7. But trap stack is a very, very easy way to win on fire, and you know I can win not even, you know, watching the screen. I can watch a movie and just trap stack and win. It's pretty simple, and you know, a school with that much simplicity will always have a way to excel. Basically, is my point here. Coming in at the number 6 spot, I think I'm going to put the Death Wizard now. I was thinking about putting this at number 7, but the gear audit is a thing, right? Death losing minnow is a very, very big deal, and Chin's defense being nerfed is a very big deal for Death as well. But I still can't look past the fact that Death literally has the stats that a Storm Wizard should. And Headless is still, you know, Storm DPP, right? Which is absolutely mental. Like, Headless is literally better than, you know, Storm's trainable 4-pip hits, which is absolutely crazy, in my opinion. But Death still has one of the best shads in the game, Grim Reader, right? And keep that in mind with the amount of stats you have. It's just extremely, extremely powerful. All that really changed is deaths are forced to engage with the meta now, rather than just minnow the whole game, right? They have to engage in the shift, in consequences as well. Death literally had no consequences in Season 1. It was crazy. But they actually have to come to the reality of, you know, learning to actually use their brain. I say that respectively, you know, you can't just Grim Reader through a shield for like 3,000 anymore and Headless twice and a Storm's dead, you know? You actually have to figure out what to do and when to overtime, and if that gets countered, can you still get a good hit? There's actually counterplay, and you still have cards like Fawn, which is a very, very solid card, in my opinion. One thing I will say though, Death spell elements are pretty bad, so I wouldn't mind seeing a couple of reworks to the Death spell elements. Coming in at number 7, I'm going to put the Myth Wizard. Now, some people might be surprised. I was honestly thinking about putting this at number 3. But after I talked to a couple of people, I think I'm going to leave it at number 7. Now, I do want to clarify, a lot of the schools right now are, you know, getting more balanced. And a lot of them actually are pretty good in their own regard. You can win on, you know, almost any school now, right? And I think Myth is one of those schools, you know? I've been having a lot of fun on my Myth recently, despite the gear audit sucking and stuff like that. It's honestly a lot of fun, and I think one of the reasons for that is, you know, Talos is a really good minion, right? Delusion is a good card, Betrayal is really good, you have single stuns to, you know, threaten a Medusa. And I guess if you run like Highland Hat and stuff, it's not that bad in terms of the gear audits. But, you know, I don't know, man. I just think Myth has a little bit too many options, right? I've talked about this a couple days ago in my Myth is Mid video. So if you want to check out details on why I think Myth isn't that good right now, just check out that video. It's called Myth is Mid, I believe. I just think, you know, their minions aren't that great for being a minion school, you know? They're decent. Like, Talus is good, but he's a little bit selfish sometimes, so he could be better. I've seen Sauce rage about the Cyclops minion as well. Yaga minion, that joint just does not heal, bro. That thing sucks. Let me tell you, man, it sucks. Then keep in mind the gear audit as well. Like, you know, I mean, look at this resist, and I don't get max accuracy, bro. And your block sucks. Like, do I need to say anymore, dude? Do I really need to? That being said, though, Myth does have a lot of pros. Like, you know, single stun spams are, you know, pretty good. Even one stun is pretty good, because let's say I do a single stun on a free turn, my opponent towers, I can actually Myth Banshee, break off the tower, threaten a hit, and threaten a stun at the same time, right? So single stuns are very, very good to pack on a Myth, and are definitely recommended. But I think in terms of the gear audit, bad minions and having a bit too many options and no way to really control your deck that well, I think that's what really holds Myth back, in my opinion, you know? If you could pull what you need more on a Myth, I think the school would be a lot better, in my opinion. But, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you think about my opinions in the comments below. Keep in mind, this is a little bit early of a prediction. Things are subject to change, of course, but, yeah, I was right on my Season 1 tier list. People said Death was awful, and then, you know, Death is, you know, one of the best schools. What do you know? Like, I'm just good at, you know, thinking objectively, and I think most of that is because I actually write down pros and cons. I think of, like, okay, how hard does, you know, life counter other schools? How hard does Myth get countered, you know? And stuff like that. I don't know. Then a lot of practical experience and stuff like that as well helps me out quite a bit. So I don't know, guys. We'll see. We'll see if I'm right or wrong this time. But I do hope you guys enjoyed it. If you made it this far, again, feel free to leave a like. It would help out quite a bit. And I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. And as always, take care, guys.